Sue Thomas.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I am really excited to be here. As Lisa said, this is the second anniversary of the PTN. I was a founding member and frankly very honored that Lisa asked if I would come speak. And I said, oh, sure, I love it. And so that's why you get stuck with me today. But I'm excited. Hopefully we'll come away with something that's very informative and inspiring. This topic is near and dear to my heart, and so I hope to impart some of my passion into you because this stuff works. Anyway, so, okay. The name of the book is The Science of Getting Rich, and as you can see, I'm a tabber and a highlighter. I don't know if anybody else is, but I do that all the time. And I think the reason I was drawn to this book is because I love science. When I was in college, I was a theater major, go figure, theater major, and a biology major. And the only reason I was a biology major was because I love biology so much I thought it would be my minor, but I kept taking classes. And so it became my major. And you know, what was it about science? I go into the science building and it smelled like formaldehyde. But it was that sweet, familiar smell, and there were skeletons all over the building, and there were fossils, and there were little bugs and butterflies with pins stuck through them, and it was, you know, the whole course curriculum appealed to my sense of order. In chemistry, you know, you do things a certain way and certain things happen, and in botany there's always the geniuses and the whatevers, and in genetics it's, you know, blue-eyed, Paris brown-eyed, and he gives you green-eyed or whatever. But, so anyway, it appealed to my sense of order, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm very orderly. And so I heard about this book, and I said, The Science of Getting Rich, and I thought, awesome. I love science. I am really good at science. I got straight A's in science. All I got to do is learn this science, and I'll be rich. Well, guess what? There's a lot to this book, and I'm still learning. I laid some handouts on your tables. If you didn't get one, let me know. But there's a picture of an interesting-looking gentleman at the bottom of that handout, and that's Wallace D. Wattles. He was born in 1860 and died in 1911, and The Science of Getting Rich was written and published in 1910. So this was one of his later works. He was a prolific writer. He wrote a lot of stuff. He was never had a formal education, which kind of kept him out of the good old boys club. He was never part of captains of industries. This was a period of time when the transcendentalist movement was up and coming in the United States, and people like Emerson really fashioned some of Wattles' thinking. So he practiced everything he taught, and he makes it very clear if you read his book. You know, he says, people ask me, you know, if this stuff works, and I can tell you that it does. And, you know, he kind of gets cocky about it and says, don't question me about it, it works. So it's, he was a very interesting writer and very prolific. How many people in here have seen The Secret? Okay, good, a lot. We want to give thanks to Rhonda Burns for bringing The Secret out and really bringing some of the concepts of the law of attraction out to the market. She has admitted, however, that it was this book, The Science of Getting Rich, that really influenced her in the making of The Secret. So if you want to know where a lot of those things, those ideas came from, she really glamorized them, of course, in the movie, but a lot of it has to do with The Science of Getting Rich. So one thing, we talk a lot about the law of attraction, especially here in this group, and really the law of attraction is a secondary law. The first law is the law of vibration, and that is that everything is energy and everything vibrates. Yes, at different frequencies, but vibration, there are frequencies that are vibrating in this room right now that we can't see. I don't know how many of you have teenagers or young adults, but my daughter tells me there's a ringtone for your cell phone that only teenagers can hear. And she actually played it for me, and I couldn't hear. You know, us old folks couldn't hear that ringtone. And yet, she says, Mom, it's playing, it's playing. So there are frequencies and dog whistles and things like that. So there's frequencies that exist that we are not picking up with our five senses. However, we live in a vibrational universe, and so even so our vibrations, as Lisa's example demonstrated, she was vibrating at a certain energy. She decided to change her vibration, and different things happened. She attracted a different kind of vibration. So if you want, and so the thing is that you need to understand and at least be aware of what your dominant vibration is. And if you want to know what your dominant vibration is, just look at your life and what you're bringing into your life. That's your dominant vibration. Wayne Dyer, people have heard of Wayne Dyer? Yeah, great. He says, I don't attract what I want, I attract what I am. And actually, to paraphrase that from James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. Another great classic you got to read, As a Man Thinketh. Okay, so some principles about the science. Has anyone here read the book, actually, The Science of Getting Rich? Okay, a few people. These are the kinds of things that Waddles posits in this book. Our thoughts are vibrations. He says that flat out. Our thoughts are measurable and real. And through his research and meditations, and with this particular premise in mind, that's how he started writing the book. He says there's three basic propositions. One, there is an original formless stuff from which all things are made. Now, back in the early 1900s, I guess stuff was a highly technical term back then, but that's what he calls it, is formless stuff. And number two, this stuff is a thinking stuff. And a thought held in this stuff, aka a dominant thought, will produce the form of the thought. And number three, man, woman, humanity, is a thinking center, and who can form things in his thought, impress them on formless substance, and create the thing he thinks about. Now, at the end of every meeting, what do we say? What we think about, we bring about. And this is why, because of these assumptions that Waddles puts out in his book. The other thing that you probably know is that everything is created twice. First in thought, and then in form. So this podium, our meal, the chairs you're sitting on, the tables, all of that was created in thought first, and now is manifest in form. Now there's a difference between original thinking and synthetic thinking. Most of the time, many of us are really not thinking. We have mind activity, but we're not really thinking. What we're doing is we're rehearsing our old patterns, we're rehearsing our old beliefs, we're taking old thoughts and applying it to different circumstances, but it's really the same thought. Waddles talks about synthetic thinking, where you have out of the blue inspirations. These are thoughts that hadn't occurred to you before. And of course, I want to know where is the blue and how do I get something out of it, but that's a topic for later discussion. But anyway, so original thinking versus synthetic thinking. What we want to do is not just have that mind activity, as Lisa talked about in her Ho'oponopono, is really shifting that vibration, not running those old patterns. When Lisa was telling her story, a saying came to me that I use a lot, and that is that a belief is just a thought you keep on thinking. So she had a belief about her in-laws, and it became true the more she thought it. So when we look at our reality, and we say, well, it's true, because this is what I believe, and I believe this is true. Well, it's really just a thought you keep thinking. have, oh, thank you, we have the ability to change our thoughts. So, anyway, okay. So Waddell says that thinking is the hardest work in the world, that's why most people don't do it. So, what we want to do is get more into original thinking. So, in the book, I'm going to focus on 4 main chapters. And the reason I do this is because I believe what Bob Proctor says. Does everybody know who Bob Proctor is? This man is a genius. If you don't know who he is, you need to Google him. But anyway, he was in The Secret, a star in The Secret, and Bob Proctor has a prescription, which I'll repeat several times, and that basically is take this book and read chapter 4, 7, 11, and 14 every day for 90 days. And if you skip a day, start over.